Hi everyone. Based on the recent federal budget announcements and the changes to capital gains tax and negative gearing, a lot of interest has been there in people to understand how do these changes impact them. What is the impact on their existing portfolio? What is the impact on a new property that they're going to buy, whether it's an existing or a new one? And what is the impact on first, the capital gains tax? What is the impact on the profit they're going to be making from this property? And third, how will they manage the cash flow? That's when we realized that if we were to have a calculator which can help you understand exactly what is the impact based on your portfolio, your incomes, your scenario and your assumptions on how you see the market moving, then what is the impact? That's precisely what we have developed. We have developed two calculators and I want to show one of them to you. So if you go to our website nfinityfinancials.com and go to the tools and calculator section, I can show you right here. I'll just walk you through the calculator. How do you reach there and how does it help calculate, right? Go down to the CGT and negative gearing calculator at the bottom of the page. Click on calculate now. Calculator. This page has two calculators. One, what is the impact of these changes on your existing portfolio? And second, what is the impact of the changes to both CGT and negative gearing on a property that you're looking to buy, okay? An existing property that you're looking to buy, okay? So this is the one for existing portfolio. There's another video which is a tutorial on this one. Today I'm covering the buying an existing property portfolio. You click here, you will see a default kind of scenario here, but let's look at what are the inputs here and what does the calculator show and what are the assumptions built into this, okay? The left panel is the assumptions section. It seems a lot of inputs there, but once you start filling in, you realize that all of these are required to know your scenario. Let's say if you're looking to purchase a property of 600K with a rental yield of 5% and you're taking a loan of 80% and an assumption that let's say how much will the property grow. So you have to assume a figure there and we'll keep this as a constant in the analysis. Let's say an assumed growth of 8%. And let's say you want to sell this after 8 years, let's say, okay? And what are the costs of buying and of maintaining this property, right? So let's say there's an interest rate of 6.25%, which is roughly where the current interest rates are, or maybe we can make it 6.4% or 6.45%. I've assumed interest rate here. Let's say property management cost of roughly 7%. These are the ongoing costs which are going to be there on a monthly or yearly basis. Council rate, let's say $150 a month, insurance cost roughly $120 a month, maintenance required another $100 a month. So these are the costs which will determine how your cash flow looks like. Let's say your cost, let's say inflation, we have assumed a 3.42 number. This is an average of indexation of the study loans for the last 5 years. So we have assumed the same number here, but let's say if we go with an assumption of lower indexation, lower inflation. So let's say if it is 2%, and let's say you have to assume what rental growth do you expect. Let's say a rental growth of 5%. Taking a little bit higher because in a lot of places the supply of properties is limited, so the rental growth is expected in a lot of suburbs and cities is expected to be higher than the inflation. So I'm just taking 5%, but you feel free to input what your assumption is. Then we come to the ownership section. Let's say there are two of you who are buying this property, ownership share of 50% of the first owner and an annual income, let's say first owner 180K, ownership share of the second person again 50% and annual income of 80 grand, okay? This will help you because the tax slabs will be different and the impact of the calculations will be different on both. So we have just taken some incomes, you put in your numbers here. Let's say you're buying the property in NSW, it calculates the stamp duty. So now we are calculating the upfront costs of purchasing. So this is calculated. Then let's assume there's a professional fee to buy this property, which includes, let's say if you hire a buyer agent or conveyancer, solicitor, building and pest inspection, accountant, all of that combined. Let's say I'm taking a figure of 15,000 here, you put in based on your assumptions, and other costs of buying the property. Let's say if you're setting up an entity or valuation cost might be there. So some miscellaneous cost of let's say another couple of $1,000 there. Now these are all assumed figure, and let's say because we are calculating the impact of capital gains, we're saying that when you sell the property, then by that time what the impact will be there, right? So let's say when you're selling it, there will be a sales agent you will hire, so there will be a selling cost as well. I'm assuming 1.5% as the agent commission there. So now if you're selling this property, we assume that we are selling this property after 8 years. So after 8 years, based on the property growth, the agent commission of 1.5. So this has, the system has already computed what will be the sale value at that point of time, and it has computed that agent commission based on 1.5% will be close to $16,000. Okay, so this is now the inputs and some basic computation based on that. Now let's look at the model for this scenario. What we have assumed is a property of 600K. Selling after 8 years. This is an existing property that you're looking to buy now with a rental yield of 5%. Okay, and yep, that's pretty much it. Now let's look at the numbers. So let's look at the key numbers there. The estimated profit after tax and pre-budget policy. Estimated profit, so this is netting off against negative gearing, CGT, all of that. So that was 356K. Now estimated profit after tax based on the post-budget policy will drop by $55,000. So you'll still make 300 grand on it. So there's a $55,713 impact. This is extra tax you will pay under the new policy. And the property becomes positively geared in the 5th year. So it is positively geared for 4 out of 8 years. First 4 years it remains negatively geared with these assumptions. After that it becomes positively geared. Now let's look at some details in terms of the items here. So based on the pre-budget policy, the system calculates the property value at sale. So this is, the columns are pre-budget policy, post-budget policy, and what is the difference between the two. Okay, one by one line items. Property value at sale, this is based on the growth rate. We have assumed 8% here. Now value at 30th June 2027, this is calculated because based on the budget, they're saying that if the property value will be, the cost base will be indexed at this, will be based at this, and then the indexation will be starting from 2027. So till 2027 you get the negative gearing benefits. After that you don't, and the capital gains tax policy, of which is 50% discount you get as of now. But after the policy, the 50% commission discount will be gone, but it will be indexation based capital gains tax, which will be applied 2027 onwards. So let's say if the value is index value comes to 647K, again this is based on the growth rate. Now increase in property value for a period of 8 years comes to roughly, based on the capital growth, it comes to 500K, $502,000, and indexed cost at the time of sale, so 8 years from now, this will go to 743K. Okay, based on the 2%, we have assumed 2% inflation here. Yeah, correct. Now, so cash flow during the holding period, cumulative cash flow over the 8 years will be negative of $2,000. So negative gearing tax saving in the first scenario, which is under budget policy, will be, you will be ultimately having a you'll be paying a tax of $1,100 because the property becomes positively geared after the 4th year. So ultimately there is first few years you will be saving on negative gearing, but after 4 years, this is pre-budget policy. Okay, so first 4 years because it is making losses, so you are saving on negative gearing. After that there is profit, so you pay tax on that. Versus in the post-budget policy, because for the first year till 2027 the negative gearing is still applicable for the new properties that you're buying, but after that it will not be applicable. So there's in this 1 year there's a $1,795 of negative gearing benefit that you're getting. So overall under the new policy you save $2,950 in this negative gearing, but eventually it gets added in the capital gains tax, right? So capital gains tax, gross 447, then taxable capital gains, it computes the difference. The taxable is based on in the previous budget, the 50% discount is applied, and then ownership share is applied, and then it is calculated on that. While on the other one, post budget, the indexed capital gains till 2027, 30th June 2027 is calculated, and after that indexation is applied. So the difference between the CGT comes to around $58,000, the CGT payable. Okay, this is for both the owners combined, and if you put the negative gearing benefit and the capital gains tax benefit, the total tax that you pay under the previous policy was $91,000, while under the new policy it will be 146 grand. So it's a $55,000 jump. And your profit after tax, it shows $356,000 under the previous policy, but under the new policy, so you're paying 55k higher tax, but you still made 300k profit under this, okay, if you hold it for 2 years. So that's how this calculator is showing. And something interesting, there's a section bottom at the down here which shows you year by year cash flow analysis as well, that if your rental income, and we have assumed the rental income growth, so year 1, year 2 till year 8, your costs, then your cash flow loss for your tax savings, and what is the negative gearing tax savings, right? So if it was under the old previous policy, what was the negative gearing tax benefit? Let's look at a couple of scenarios here. Let's say if the property was, let's say 600k, same rental yield of 5%, selling after 8 years. Let's say if we assume a growth of, let's talk about a bad scenario. Let's say the property doesn't grow much, it grows by the same, just 2%, okay? Same as inflation, we are assuming 2%. Let's assume that rest of all of these things remain constant, okay? Now, under this scenario, because the growth is, we have assumed a lower growth based on indexation, so ultimately the new policy will be beneficial by $13,000. You save tax under the new policy because it is based on indexation and the property didn't grow beyond indexation. So but of course the profit is also lower because the property growth is assumed to be only 2%. So you made just something around 42 grand. As per the new policy, you will make 55k profit after tax, but the tax is lower. Now let's assume if the same inflation 5%, 2%, but let's say if the property grow by an average of, let's say, 5%. If it grows by 5%, your tax under the new policy will be higher by $11,000, roughly $11,500, okay? And if the property growth is assumed to be, let's say, 10%, a good growth, let's look at the numbers now. So you pay $92,000 more tax off when you're selling it total overall, okay? But yes, higher tax, but then there is good profit to be made as well. You make 400k roughly profit if this kind of growth rate is achieved. So that's the profit after tax, okay? Let's look at just a couple of more scenarios. Let's say if the inflation was a little higher, the RBA government, they want to keep it in the range of 2 to 3%. Right now the average has been a little higher in the last 5 years, 3.4, but let's say if it is 3%, then these numbers, how do they change? Again, let's assume that the growth rate is not as good. Growth rate is lower. Property growth rate, where is that gone? Instead of 2%, let's say if it was again low, just 2% or 3%, same as indexation. Again, because of the indexation impact, you save more money you save more tax under the new policy, but then there's not too much profit if you're assuming a low property growth rate. Anyways, not a scenario under which you would want to buy a property. 100k growth. Let's say if it's a little better growth in property of, let's say, instead of 3%, let's say if it is 5%, not too much, a little bit, delta extra. See, if the inflation is high, then high chances that even the property growth should be higher, but we are assuming still it to be nominal at 5%. So you make roughly 190k under both the policies. Not too much difference in how much capital gains tax you will pay. You'll probably save around 9 grand under this scenario. Not a big difference, but if you assume a higher growth of 10%, so we have assumed inflation of 3%. Now if the growth is higher at 10%, then again you make a lot, you make good profit. Under the previous policy you could have been closer to 500k, which is 496k here, and under the new policy it will be 427 grand. So you're paying $68,000 extra tax, but you're making, let's say, close to 400 plus k grands after tax. This is the profit, and this property also becomes positively geared after 4 years. And if you reduce if your rental yield is lower, if you're going for a property of lower rental yield, let's say 4%, you will see the difference. The property does not remain positively geared at all. It remains negative. Just 1% change in the rental yield, and it means that it will be a cash flow negative property. You will be every year you will be required to put in money into the property. And if you want to see the impact of that, that's the table below you can see. quick thing. I think feel free to input your scenario. What kind of property you are looking to buy, and put in your numbers. You will be able to see this. Let me just walk you quickly through the assumptions we have taken. We've done a bit of detailing here. So the property cash flow per year is calculated based on of course, the rental yield, the running costs, the interest we have assumed to be IO, and same we have assumed it to be constant. You can go through the assumptions here. Negative gearing tax impact taken into account, including the tax slabs. We have assumed that the income will also be becoming higher at the rate of inflation. The cost will be increasing at the rate of inflation. So all that assumption is there. And then old policy, the negative gearing we have taken into account. For the new policy, it's only there for 1 year. After that, there's no negative gearing. But then ultimately, when you're selling the property at that time, the losses, if there are any losses that you would have made, you can net them off against the capital gains. But if you've made profit for, let's say, first 4 years you made losses, next 4 years you made profit, then you can net off the losses against the profit itself. So that is allowed. If there are still losses, then it can be net off against the capital gains. The capital gains old policy, for a comparison's sake, that how the calculation is done, the indexation with the new policy, with the old policy both. So that's the details there. Yes, feel free to use the calculator. The link is shared on this in the comment section below, and it will be great if you can share your feedback, if you can let us know that if there is anything that we've missed out and you would like us to improve upon, or if you feel that something is not right about it, let us know. We'll be happy to revise it further. Thank you, and hopefully this will help you calculate and make a better, more informed decision. Bye-bye.